My name is Jacob. A word that best describes me is resilient.
Welcome to Gym Shorts, a podcast from Ophea. We're a Canadian charity that prioritizes student health, well-being, and belonging in classrooms, schools, and communities. For over 100 years, we've been working to make gym class every student's favorite part of their day. Through this podcast, we explore the powerful and personal stories behind our earliest experiences with health and physical education. In each episode, we speak with guests about experiences from school that shape their future relationship with physical activity and well-being. These stories offer honest reflections on how our past informs the present and how we can all work together to create happier, healthier, and more inclusive futures for all students. Now, let's get into today's story. Hi, I'm Andrea Hayfley, and I'm a health and physical education curriculum consultant at Ophea. Before we begin, a quick note. This episode may contain discussions about bullying or other negative school experiences that may be upsetting or triggering for some listeners. We encourage you to take care while listening and pause if you need to. With this in mind, let's begin today's conversation. Meet Jacob. As a child growing up with a visible disability, he often found himself on the outside looking in when it came to physical activity. While he always had a strong desire to participate, others did not see things the same way. As he battled against unfair assumptions about his abilities, Jacob began to feel the effects of being isolated from his peers.
As a student, I have a disability. I was born with cerebral palsy, which I am now in a manual wheelchair, wheeling around. They call me Fast and the Furious. During my school years was difficult. I was treated differently, looked at differently, assumed differently, and it didn't feel good. And throughout my school, I had to come up with my own activities in phys ed. For activities outside on the field, there was often a sidewalk that went around the field. And so I did a cardio lesson when everyone else was doing frisbee, soccer, or any other sports on the field. It was diminishing. I looked at myself wheeling around, just staring at them. Did not feel so well. And that's what I was doing from when I first started school. I was always separated during phys ed or health education. There wasn't a point in time where they treated me equally. There was never a point where it was a basketball game and they called me out for being on a team. If anything, it was the teachers that did it because they knew the end result. And that would make no one feel good of being the last pick in any physical education area.
To create opportunities for himself in the gym, Jacob needed to understand how to advocate even when his path forward wasn't clear. By overcoming his initial fear of asking his teachers for help, Jacob found inner strength that he didn't even know existed.
For me, one of the biggest impacts that affected me was the resilience and the advocacy skills, as well as the independence. I learned a lot through the challenges I was facing and built from it. I built the advocacy skills to go to people to ask for assistance. Sometimes I didn't know what I was asking for, but I just needed some help to do so. And it was terrifying for having the first time that you have to ask a teacher for help because you feel not included in an activity. It's terrifying. And so for me, it was a opportunity to learn advocating for yourself. And I feel now that I'm quite strong at it. And I think because of the difficulties I was faced when I was younger, it has made me into one of the strongest people I know.
Jacob's school experiences helped him build a knowledge base about what's needed for inclusion that he's eager to share with others. Jacob hopes that by sharing his own personal struggles, he might make it easier for others to participate without needing to ask for help in the first place.
But it's the awareness as well. I feel like I'm more aware of things that are going on around me. I want to be as helpful as I can to myself and others. And for me, I can then hear a situation, base it off of something that has happened to me in my life, and try to assist them in whatever ways I can. Sometimes I go into my old schools and they ask me, I know you've graduated, but could you give me some advice for this scenario? And I'm 100% on for it. I'm willing to help whatever way I can. And supporting others. It's built me up to being confident to speak about the challenges and to help others. Now, this could be from school or outside of school, but there's so many people that are in similar or different scenarios. I want to help everyone. I think that that's the challenges I faced early on. Elementary school to high school have assisted me into helping people in a way that others maybe couldn't because they haven't had the experience that I've had.
Jacob recalls being given an opportunity to present an adapted sport he plays to his entire class. This opportunity changed a lot of perceptions about Jacob and who he was as an athlete.
For me, from what I've learned, I had to initiate a lot of the challenges myself. There was things that could be swept under the rug. But again, I'm here to learn. I'm motivated. Give me the challenge and I'll figure it out. And one of my developments that happened during my time in school was the opportunity to ask for a change in the course. Instead of going for an outdoor activity with lots of physical running, throwing, jumping, I asked if I could do a short little introduction to one of my favorite sports, sit skiing. And with that, I was able to, again, talk about the muscles I was using, talk about the benefits it had for me, talk about not just me on the hill, but me in the community.
Jacob realized that a lot more could be done if people stopped talking and simply listened to those around them. The more his school and community listened, the more Jacob felt like he truly belonged.
For me in school, it was a challenge. It was something that I'm glad happened, but it goes both ways. I learned a lot while advocating for myself, and I hope that my teachers and supports understood that you have to listen because that has a lasting impact on the students that you teach. If nobody ever listened to you, you would not feel good about yourself. And luckily, I was in a school, a community that helped to listen to me so I could empower myself and to teach the future of disability to the teachers, support, the principals, all of the people that helped me become the person I am today.
Jacob encourages teachers to stay attentive in the gym and actively seek out the students who may not have the confidence to speak up for themselves.
As students, what they want or how they feel. It shouldn't be the student that has to come up and ask for assistance or accommodations. If you see a student struggling or not participating or not being involved, it is quite easy to overlook when they're not in your face asking for accommodations. But if you see them and they're just rolling around or sitting on the sidelines or during a basketball game, they just happen to sit on the bench all the game, then go up to them, ask them. There's always opportunities to learn from them.
When it comes to inclusion, Jacob offers these final pieces of advice that can make all the difference for a teacher, coach, or anyone who wants everyone in the gym to feel seen, heard, and included.
Offer choices in physical education for participation. There's so many sports, but again, for somebody in the manual chair, it might be hard to go play soccer outside on the field. I know for me, grass and wheelchairs don't mess, especially right after it rains. That's not so fun. And my last, questions never hurt, but not asking can. If people didn't ask me any questions of my disability, my likes, my needs, nobody would know me. And so I feel that it's really important to ask a question. Again, by not asking, it could cause them a harder time in what they're learning.
Want to make your gym class inclusive for students of all abilities? Disability-centered movement supporting inclusive physical education is a great place to start. Ophea's free resource offers practical examples of accommodations, disability-inclusive activities for primary, junior, and intermediate classes, and guidance on navigating individual education plans. It's a great support if you're looking to build confidence in creating inclusive, welcoming movement and physical education experiences. Check out the link in our show notes to explore the full resource, including access to our e-learning module. Jake, thank you so much for sharing your lived experience in gym class, in elementary school and secondary school. So I really wanted to dig a little bit deeper about your experience of being excluded in gym class. Now, come on, you experienced feelings of frustration, but you definitely turned it into empowerment. You just did this super hard thing. Can you just share with our audience, how did the teacher respond? How did the students around you respond? You literally took things into your own hands and said, hey, you know what? Can I do this? Can I teach the class about sit skiing? Talk to us here.
It was a really cool experience on my part, but I hope on the students' part, and I know it was a cool and impactful moment for my teachers as well. Whenever I meet them or see them, they're asking me how my skiing's going. So I'm thinking it worked. Mm-hmm. But it was a cool experience to be able to go and teach the sport I love, the sport I play, with my teachers in the room, as well as my fellow friends and students. Many of them don't get to see me play any sports because I'm not big into the inside environment, the gym environment. I'm all about the frigid cold, either playing some hockey or doing some skiing. And for me, it was a great opportunity And the teachers came up at the end and asked me about it and talked to me about it. And I think they were happy with the result.
Mm-hmm.
And I was more than happy with the result I delivered. I
Yeah.
felt honored, respected,
Yeah.
because I had people to listen to my story, the sport I love and cherish.
Thank you, Jake. Like, as I'm listening to you speak so eloquently of how you flipped the script, how you really turned this negative experience for yourself into a positive one. And you know what? Like, for all of the listeners out there and the teachers who are listening, and even for myself, as I listen to your experience, I think about, wow, all it took was for someone to say yes. And I always talk about that art of saying yes. That all goes down to, you know what? I want to listen to my students, what they like, what they don't like, and how I can make sure that they feel safe, physically and emotionally safe in my class. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you for allowing me. It's one of my favorite memories in school was that opportunity that I got to speak about.
Jake, you are an avid learner at heart. You love learning. I've known you for many years and working with you that you just want to take on and conquer any challenge you can. So I want you to think of the teachers who are listening to our podcast right now. What do you want them to know? And I want you to also speak about the students in the class right now who cannot advocate for themselves. There are students who may not be able to speak or not even have the courage to actually ask for help. What do you want to say to those teachers?
For the teachers, I would always recommend sitting down,
Mm-hmm.
hearing them out. Again, they might tell you a story about themselves, but the bits of information you can get from anybody helps to build a idea. I want to say this idea of what they might
Yeah,
like. It's
yeah,
not what they would do like, because it could be influenced by their parents.
yeah,
But if I'm talking about the hockey I did, and I just keep on talking about the hockey I did,
yeah,
the
yeah,
skiing I did, but then I quickly talk about the basketball for a few seconds. I did basketball, but I do skiing every winter for 7 years, and I go all over the world for skiing.
mm-hmm.
It has an impact, and so I would hear everyone out. You want to be heard yourself. You don't want to feel ignored at work.
Mm-hmm.
Same with
Mm-hmm.
students. They don't want to feel ignored. And if
Yeah,
you're seeing them sitting in the corner or just not coming up to you and you can feel it, and even if you can't, sometimes it's just nice during a recess, especially when it's snowing, stay warm inside and have a nice chat with them uh,
yeah,
about their hobbies, their passions. For me, one of mine was bodybuilding inside a like gym, and so with all the equipment,
yeah,
and the teachers understood that just by having a chat with me of what I liked, what I didn't like, and
yeah.
I was fortunate to have teachers that listened to me.
Mm-hmm. Jake, I know you're very comfortable sharing your story and you do a lot of public speaking. I was wondering if you noticed a shift in the response you received today versus how things were when you were in school.
Yeah, for me in school back then, it was unnoticed. People with disabilities, uh, especially visible disabilities, were seen and just pushed to the side to do their own thing, which didn't bring much in the inclusion space. And it took a while. But just like anything, any news, anything you're learning, eventually there is a start to the learning of anything. Learning in school about mathematics, about English, about biology, it always starts somewhere. And so that starting point of learning, I'm not holding anyone in a bad name or a bad rap because of when they were teaching. But I do think these days are better. I feel like it's more well known that people have disabilities, invisible or visible. If you're in a manual chair or an electric chair, I think it's more well known. I think that assists teachers and their confidence by helping, by exploring.
Jake, Fast and Furious, thank you so much for sharing your story. I appreciate this so much.
Thank you very much for having me. It was an honor, and I'm happy to do this anytime you need.
This episode was hosted by me, Andrea Hayflay, and was produced by Mike Meehan. Our music was written and performed by Ron Kelly. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave a review. Your support helps us grow and reach more educators, students, and change makers. Until next time, let's keep moving, questioning, and creating space for every student to thrive.